لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. As the verse says in the Qur'an, that after you complete the ritual prayer to remember Allah. So this is a command of Allah. After you complete the ritual prayer to remember Allah standing, sitting, and lying down. So we hear this in a few verses, but not in this particular context, which is very beautiful. And itikaf affords the opportunity to actually be praying and to actually follow a divine command like this, to actually pray the ritual prayers and continue in the practices and in the states and the physical conditions of the dhikr Allah, so much that you remain in a state of dhikr, physically standing as you walk away from the prayer after it's completed, and sitting and laying down when you're resting, because you're in itikaf. So a verse like this is entirely fulfilled by those individuals, those seekers who are, in itikaf. They receive a taste of this, a taste of those dhakirin, those salikin, those spiritual seekers upon the path, who are immersed in the presence of the dhikr, who have hudur ma'al madhkur, right? Who have presence with the one who is remembered, the one who is being remembered, and that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the goal of the dhikr Allah. And so the dhikr Allah in Islamic practice is an unrestricted practice, unconditional practice, beyond the normative conditional confines of obvious ritual prayer that has prerequisites, ritually speaking, and has the conditions of time, that you can only pray the Fajr prayer at a particular time, for example, and the context of ritual purity even. So there's conditions. From this standpoint, there are restrictions on this mode of dhikrullah. But the dhikrullah as such, which of course the ritual prayer, the salat, embodies and leads to, the dhikrullah as such and as a practice is unrestricted. And this, kind of shows its afdal kind of nature, its supreme nature. And one of the reasons why, wala dhikrullahi akbar, that, and the remembrance of God is even better, because it is unlimited, because the practice can be done under any circumstance according to the sacred law. There's no restriction on the remembrance of God, as a sunnah, as a practice, as an Islamic practice. And here there's a divine command that when you have completed your ritual prayer, continue the remembrance of God, standing, sitting, and lying down. And what a perfect a description of the state of those in spiritual retreat. Right? So we fulfilled this verse. The Mubarak on that. This is an amazing matter. The goal of which is to carry this with you into the rest of your life, so that after your ritual prayer, after your duties to your loved ones, those who are under your care, you continue to remember God. That meaning, even in those contexts, that you should see that as a form of worship. So you should actually be remembering God and not yourself and your worries, as much as you should be remembering God in those things, to whatever they are. And so after you do those things, continue your remembrance of God in the physical conditions of standing and sitting and lying down.
لا إله إلا الله 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 لا إله إلا الله.